Good evening, good evening, good evening. How's everyone doing? Hope you can hear me well. Sorry for the slight delay. We have a technical because for the first time, we're actually streaming to both Facebook and YouTube. So give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Can you hear me? I want to see some kind of comment. We have an exciting time for you this evening. So I can see that who do we have in the house? We have Alegna, and then we have Dami, Glenys, Kalila. How you doing, Kalila? Okay, so Kalila, can you hear me? Yes, you can hear me. That's great. Wonderful. Okay, beautiful. So how's everyone been? It's been a very interesting week for me. So, and now I'm just going to try and. How's everyone been? It's been a very interesting week for. Okay, we're broadcasting. It's going a bit technical, but we're good. So, hope everyone's had a good week. Really excited today to be with you once again. Wow, it's been a very exciting week for me, but I'm particularly excited today to be bringing our guest. So, for those of you who are new on Facebook or new on YouTube, this evening is an evening where we are showcasing people who have come through our GPS program. So for those of you who don't know what GPS stands for, it's an acronym that stands for Grow Personal Success. And it was really cultivated and inspired as a result of the book that I wrote, which I don't seem to have a copy on my desk, which is kind of crazy because I have hundreds of copies here, but today I don't have a copy in front of me. But you've seen it and you can look it up. The GPS system, 7 universal principles for growing personal success. And really what it is, as I'm beginning to see and understand even more so, is that it introduces a thinking system. You see, the truth of the matter is, no one has really taught us how to think successfully. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but truly it is a state of, and it is a case that if you can change the quality of your thinking, you can change your life. But how many people have actually shown us how to do this? We go to school, college, and university, and we go to learn and be educated, supposedly, but really that's just to go out and get a job. Through the GPS system and writing the book, it gave me an opportunity to share some amazing findings that I had discovered over a period of 20 years or so. And that was that when you support individuals, particularly in my case, I was working with people from marginalized and disaffected sections of society, mainly people of color and young people and women. But with the right kind of support and sharing some of these universal principles that my spiritual mentor had shared with me, it was amazing to see the transformation that took place. And I mean, amazing to the point that I had to write about it. Some of these individuals went on to turn their lives around. Some went on to get degrees and have real good jobs. Some were able to manifest their dreams within the creative industries. And by that, I'm talking about comedians, people like Richard Blackwood, for example, singers, songwriters. Some of them, as I say, went on to do very well. In fact, some went on to become multimillionaires. So all of this really made me realize that there was something here, something that was needed investigation. And so I pretty much spent most of my entire adult life researching this. And as a result of condensing all of this information in a book, I was really surprised how it prompted questions, many questions, to the point that I then began to develop and deliver mentor and coaching programs. And as a result of that book, written many, many years ago, now we have worked with so many people through the mentoring program, but it got so much that we decided, my team and I, that we needed to develop something even more bespoke. So a shorter course that would just allow people to be introduced to the concept of thinking success, thinking about how to grow personal success using a thinking system. And as a result of this allowed individuals to focus on the foundations, the foundational pillars of the GPS thinking system, which is focusing on 5, not 3 areas of your life: your mental and emotional state, your spiritual state, and by that I mean what you believe in, your state of your relationships, your health and your well-being, and your business and money. Things that often, certainly in our community, people shy away from talking about. But through the GPS system, we call you to be real with yourself and ask yourself these questions in terms of: where do you want to be? What do you want to achieve? What is your vision? Like, honestly. And you get to write down your visions and then map potential goals that can assist you to manifesting these. And so we decided that we wanted to take a pause, because the next chapter of our evolution is going to be so major. And so we wanted to take a pause to just reflect and shine the spotlight on some of those people who have come through this process and this program, so that you can get a glimpse of the amazing front row seat that I have when I'm working with these people and hearing some of the stories of transformation. So rather than me trying to sell you on the idea, you get to hear firsthand. And so last week we had my boys, Oni and Nathaniel. And so today I thought, why not shine the spotlight on my ladies? And so we have 2 lovely ladies who, they just are dear to my heart. So if you remember last week, I was talking about young people in particular, particularly individuals who come from African homes, and the trauma that some of the people, the young people that I've worked with who've come from African homes, have gone through, just because of the culture that exists and the naivety that some parents have. In fact, a significant number of parents have, where because of the culture, the Nigerian culture, it is one where, yeah, the parents are very dogmatic in what they want their children to become. And it's usually a lawyer, a doctor, and an accountant or an architect. So you usually get to pick 4, one of the 4. And if you don't, you're in trouble. And so with that said, I was really pleased, because I spoke with a particular young lady who I was blessed to work with when she was a very young girl, going through the challenges that I've just described. And we're going to hear in more detail. So I want to invite to join us, and we're going to get straight in because we've got a lot to go through. I want to jump straight in and invite our guest, Dami. But as I do that, I want to make sure that she's there. So bear with me a moment. I think she's there. And yes, I'm going to promote her. And of course, my apologies for those of you who aren't familiar with me. My name is Tony Biola Dada. I am the founder and the creator of the Dada Company, Development Company. Oh my God. Dami, you're on mute.
Oh, right.
Hey, oh
Hello.
my God, how are you doing?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
Oh my goodness, you look so well. I can't believe it. It's amazing. So you heard the intro that I gave
Yes.
to describe you, but we're going to go into it a little bit more in detail because, as I said, I was talking last week about something that is also dear to your heart, which is young people being able to, particularly people from Nigeria, young people from Nigeria, being able to live their dream and honor their soul, right? And so we're working on some stuff at the moment, but I'm going to be giving you a shout because we're actually looking at doing some webinars directly to the Nigerian audience, and it would be great to have you come as our guest, because I know that you don't want other young ladies and men, for that matter, to go through what you had to go through. No. So, shall we get straight in?
Yes, let's get straight in.
Let's get straight in. So we're just going to have a conversation in the chat. So I want to start off by asking, when I met you, you were, I think, 20, if not 21.
Yes, I was 20. Yes, because it was 6 years ago, 2014. Yeah.
Yes. And I remember thinking, this young lady she's a bit young. There's only been a few ladies that have been of that age bracket that have actually said, I'd like to do the GPS program. So I was a bit concerned until you told me your story. But so I'd like you to just share with us what was going on for you at that time that made you think I need to have or find a mentor.
I think for me at that time, I just had no adult or no one in my corner, essentially. Like I had no one to talk to about how I was feeling or whether or not I was okay where I am in life. So I think I was just going through life, just doing what I've been told and not actually like listening or being listened to, essentially. So I was just doing things I was told, go to uni, go to school, just go, the checkbox of just doing things. So I wasn't really like in the moment to actually figure out what I wanted for myself or whether or not I wanted to do what I was doing. So, and no adults actually listen to or to even give me the right path to say, okay, here are the options, or what do you want to do, or what would you like to do, or what do you think you're good at? And those questions you ask on the program, like, what are your dreams and what you're good at, and what do you think would be good for you? Well, no one's ever asked that. So I think that was I just needed someone to speak to. I think that was the main thing.
And we actually met whilst you were at uni, right?
At uni, yes. You actually came to my uni. That's right. How we met, yeah.
Yes. So I did a talk at your uni, I believe.
Yes.
And we met. And so you were on the lookout for someone at that time, would you say?
I wasn't sure. I feel like I knew I needed to speak to someone, but I wasn't sure. So I would usually just go to most talks just to see what they, what's on offer, what people want to say, and just like explore and open my mind to different things. So I just went to most talks just to just to see.
Right. Well, that's really something. I mean, it shows that you had an open mind and you were just exploring,
yes.
which happens when you're a student, but tends not to happen so much the older we become, right?
Yeah.
So that's a little sign, a little lesson for those of you who are tuning in who are adults, that it's always key that we have an open mind, because life, particularly the world that we're living in now, where there are new things, new products, and things are changing at such a pace. If your mind is not open, then you're in trouble and you don't even know it. So here we are. We meet and we exchange, and I think I give you my card, and then we have a conversation, and then you kind of give me a little synopsis of what's going on with you, and I tell you about the GPS program, and you decide to commit.
Yes.
Now, that for me was big because, the course is not cheap. You're a young woman who is a student, but yet you decided to commit and you were determined, and we made an arrangement that would work for you financially. And that was it. The journey began.
Yes. I think for me also, it was just nice to know that someone actually wanted to listen. I think, a lot of adults, someone who was obviously had a different perspective to, what I'm used to, or what, the adults around me. So it was just like, okay, this will be interesting to see whether or not, I can learn something new and, have a bit more exposure to different things in life, I guess.
And not your typical Niger.
Not the typical uncle or family.
So, okay, so then we began, and then quite quickly, I saw how serious your situation was.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, it was a bit scary.
Yeah.
And that was me as an adult looking at your situation and seeing what was going on for you. And even now that I'm mentioning it, I can almost see you're kind of going back to that time. And it's okay because we passed it, we got through it.
No, that's true. That's true.
But I think, and we don't have to divulge any more than you want to, but I will say this for sure, that I believe in this new season, because we're in a new era now, it's people like you and people like myself who are going to need to be open to share their story to enable the parents that are raising children to see that there has to be a better way.
Definitely. No, that's true. I agree.
So what we were able to establish very quickly was that you were almost losing yourself and your identity.
Mm-hmm.
You had a boyfriend. I mean, basically everybody was telling you.
Telling me what to do exactly. I had no control. And I didn't even feel like I needed to have control as well, because I didn't know any better. Whether or not I was just like listening and just doing, and I didn't really know who I was. I was just, yeah, it was a bit. Looking back now, I'm like, wow.
And the thing is, you were on a path to nowhere.
That's true.
And
I didn't care. I was just, just.
And so even the uni that you were going to, the law degree, I mean, again, it was because you were told to.
Yeah, like I didn't, I just went through the whole system of, obviously I was in sixth form. Law was like, okay, just do law degree. It's very transferable skills. It wasn't really like I wanted to, or I had a passion for law or anything like that. It was just like, okay, you know what? Like that's the next step. Let's go and let's see how it goes. Like it wasn't really. There was no thinking behind anything I was doing. I was just doing.
Say that again. There was no thinking.
No.
Wow. And that right there is something that needs to be echoed so that parents can hear that, because who wants to raise a child who can get straight A's, get degrees, but all of it has been done robotically without thinking? Because then when they get to the end of the line and they get their graduation paper, they've not done any thinking in the process. So now what do?
Yeah.
So we had a couple of sessions, and we spoke about your boyfriend at the time and some of the things that were going on. And I remember that within, it must have been 1 or 2 sessions.
Second session, yeah. I remember the second session.
You came back and told me what? What did you say?
I said I broke up with him. I ended it. Like, I'm done. No, it was the second session, because I remember calling you and I was like, no, it's done. Like, I'm not going back to that. That was not, like, looking back now, I was like, why was I in that situation? It was not needed. It wasn't working for me. I wasn't happy about it. But obviously I stayed because, again, I had no one to speak to obviously express myself of how I was feeling at the time. So just speaking to you and just like having a bit of clarity, obviously in a few sessions, I was just like, okay, like this is definitely not benefiting me in any way. And bye.
Now, just for the record, I didn't tell her to just like say.
You didn't. You actually didn't tell me to do.
I just want a disclaimer, The guy might be watching and he's like, "Oh, he's the reason why." But what we do, and what I saw happen where you were concerned, is our sessions just really stimulated your thinking in terms of what you want, right?
I wanted.
Right. And you're an intelligent girl, and you just worked out, hang on a second, I've not even thought about what's going on here.
No.
Now I'm thinking about it. Why am I here?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm like, okay, so we have our second session, and she's like, he's gone. I'm like, okay, all right. So what else is going on? And then we moved on to the area that really was the space that predominated our sessions. And that was, the support or lack of support. I mean, I'll let you describe it in terms of your studies, really, because there was a lot of pressure. I mean, and you had it difficult in as much as, you know, your parents being in another country and you all of that. I mean, again, I don't want to be the one to express. So I'm going to give you the floor to share as much or as little as you care to.
No, I think for me then, obviously, like I moved here to live with family members at a young age, and obviously didn't have a say in that, of course.
How young were you? How young were you?
So I moved here when I was 8.
Wow. Okay.
So, but even prior to that, I lived with my grandparents. I don't really remember ever living with my parents, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So then I moved here with family members, and I wasn't really, not that I wasn't listened to. There was no, I said no one cared to like say, okay, to like check on you or to like to say, how are you doing? How was school? What are you looking to, like, no one, it was just like, I was just there to live and just go about what I needed to go about, like, and do and what I needed to do. So it was really no one like in my corner, no one to speak to, no support, I felt anyway, emotionally, or even like, you know, just guidance in terms of what I needed to do or where I was going in my life or what, just day to day things. I didn't really have that support. So it was really hard for me. And also obviously studying, and I was working full time as well. And it was just a lot going on. And again, I was just doing everything because it was like I needed to do them. Not that like I said, there was no thinking. So I was just doing them because obviously it needed to be done. I needed to study, I needed to make money. It was just like, just do what you can do. And that was what I was doing.
And you were like, but you were going hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then on top of that, to find that there was no support. So, and not even was there no support, but there was additional stress that was put on you.
Yeah, definitely.
It brought you close to breaking point.
No, yes, no. I think I remember telling you one time, like I was scared to go home. Like I was like, you know, every time I like try to go home, I'm always like scared. There's always like some sort of like drama or some sort of issue. And like, I guess, again, that was why I was obviously working and studying to just like try to be away from that situation, just to make sure I am always busy and not like, you know, giving myself time to even think or be in the moment. Yeah. That was obviously part of, you know, all that stress and added.
And I remember on a couple of sessions, it got really emotional because it was a lot that you were dealing with.
Yeah, and there was no one to express it to. So when I had the chance to speak to you and you were asking me questions, I was like, oh wow, like it was a lot of like load, like just letting someone know how I was feeling all these years because no one's ever asked.
Wow.
So it got really emotional.
Yeah. And of course, you know, I mean, you know, I've got children that are older than you, so this was like my little baby girl that I needed to also make sure, like, you know, that it didn't go to the left because it was looking that way. And people weren't realizing that in order for you to get your grades, you need to have space to be able to think. And
exactly.
Rather than that wasn't happening. And so, yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, how did you use our sessions to equip you with the tools to allow you to be able to withstand? Because I remember at one stage you were contemplating, you know, moving out, and which would have been also very difficult for you, but you know, you were just looking for ways to resolve the situation.
Yeah.
How did you manage to use the sessions to equip you with, you know, those tools?
I think the session allowed me to actually think about what I wanted for myself. And I think my mindset and my emotional state changed in terms of like, I was like, okay, so now I know that, you know, I can actually think and like do my own things and actually like, you know, have my own goals and my own dreams and what I actually want for myself, for Dami, and figure out who Dami is as well. So it was like a journey to like rediscover myself. And so it made me happy to know that I was doing that for myself. Yeah. So that was what like got me through, because I was okay, you know what, like now that you know there's something you can do for Dami, and now you're trying to figure it out, or you're trying to find steps to make sure, you know, you're happy and you're okay with who you are. It kept me going, knowing that there's like a road at the end that I was going to come out a better person and a happier person. Yeah. So that was definitely something that, you know, from our session, like having those questions and thinking about me, like really thinking about me because again, like I didn't really do that. So that really made me happy, I guess, and like, gave me a vision of what I wanted to do and who I wanted.
Now we're talking. Yeah. It
So,
gave you that vision.
Yeah.
That's really what kept you, because
No, definitely.
every step you were taking towards that vision.
Yeah.
And so at the time when we met, what stage was you? Was you in your second year at your degree?
Yes, my second year.
So we did the work, and then you went on to your third year. And of course now, I mean, the third year is always the hardest, right? But now your mind was in a better, stronger place, and you were equipped to be able to handle stuff. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think did you kind of put your foot down a little bit to
No, yes, I did well. I did much better in my third year because I had a bit more, not passion, but I understood what I was doing a bit more. Like I knew that, I needed to do this because there was something at the end of the road for me that would make me better, put me in a better place. So in the third year, there was more thinking behind what I was doing and more intention. There was more intention in terms of, obviously, I wanted to do well, even though maybe or not law wasn't what I wanted to do. But now that I know, okay, there's a possibility that this will get me in a better place and to potentially move me for where I was, there was more intention behind my studies.
Wow. Okay. So then I was so excited when I heard that you graduated.
Yes.
And so all of that hard work was worth it in the end. So you got your
law degree.
And we were still very much in touch, because I'm like, this is my little girl now. And then you were asking me about placements in Nigeria.
Yes.
And you obviously must be blessed, because circumstances just came up where I had a contact in Nigeria, and we were able to hook it up so that you were actually able to go and do your, what do they call it? What's the term that they use?
Internship.
Okay, yeah. That you were able to hook up with this contact and then go out to Nigeria and do your internship.
Yeah.
How long was you out there for?
8 months.
Wow, that was, and I was just like, I've never been able to create that kind of a situation for anyone before or since. So it was really pretty cool. And the fact that that was what you wanted, and you expressed it. And I think the reason why I'm bringing it up is because for those who are listening, it really demonstrates, as crazy as your heart's desire might be, have faith and speak it. So you spoke it to me and just said, look, Uncle T, do you know someone in Nigeria who might be able to, but you put it out there. And it just so happened at that time, I was in touch with someone, and I was like, listen, there's this young lady that I'm mentoring and coaching. And we're like, okay. And we weren't sure it was going to happen. Then it was like, yep, it's done.
Yeah.
So how was that? What was that experience like for 8 months?
That was a crazy experience. Like just the whole working experience is so different to here, of course. The whole country itself was all different. It was. But I'm so glad I had that experience, because obviously I've always had this intention of, at one point, whether going back home or like having the set business at home. So having that work experience there was amazing for me to know that I can actually do this. It was difficult. I had to find my way around and learn how to drive over there. And
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Yes, it was a whole
learning how to drive in Nigeria.
I was driving myself to work every day.
At what age?
21.
What?
Yes. Hey. It was after I finished uni. 21, I was going to 22, yeah.
So could you drive in the UK?
Oh yeah. No, I learnt over there. So I didn't. I had to, because obviously transport over there is a bit more difficult.
Wow. Yeah, but I'm thinking about the roads. They're crazy out there.
Trust me, I got tough. It was it was a whole experience on itself.
Like constant beep for no reason, eh? Just beep.
But I was definitely glad I had that experience. It was amazing, but it was difficult. Also, like I learned obviously things about myself. Obviously, new skills, is also being in a different environment, working with different people who obviously have different backgrounds, well, not background, but like, different upbringing than you. So it was a bit of different environment to work with, but I made it work. And I still have the contacts from the firm I work with. I still, still speak to the firm, some of the lawyers there. And they even wanted me to actually stay and do my law school in Nigeria, and then obviously like work for them. But they actually offered me that like before I left.
Wow.
Whether or not I wanted to stay and do my law school in Nigeria. And for my Christmas present, they gave me like law books, thinking I would stay, but I was like, guys, sorry.
Wow, that's incredible. So that's the kind of impression that you made. But the reason why you didn't stay, because now Dami is a woman who is clear about what she wants out of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you say that that was the key in enabling you to say thank you, but no thank you?
No, definitely. I knew I needed to come back and obviously set up myself here, even if I do want to obviously have a career or some sort of business in Nigeria. I knew I needed to come back and have a foundation here, which obviously was, my base and my foundation essentially to do what I wanted to do in life.
Okay, so beautiful. So you come back to the UK now, and then you started working and trying to make things happen. So what's been happening in your life since then?
Well, since then, a lot has happened. So much has happened. I think one of the amazing thing that's happened 2 weeks ago, actually, I finally secured my training contract. So I'm a trainee solicitor now.
Wow.
Yes. So that was definitely, I still can't believe it until.
and the crazy thing is, how long has it been since you came back to the UK that you've been trying to get this trainee solicitor role?
3 years. Three
Wow.
years.
And so just to show that we got that connection. So, we speak every now and again, every 3 months or something like that. But I was like,
the day after.
Yeah, because the day after I called you.
Yeah.
Blue,
and I was like,
you must know. Like
obviously, I thought that was why you were calling. Maybe you saw it somewhere, or like you just thought, I don't know. I was like, oh, he must have saw it, like maybe on LinkedIn or something, and then decided to call me.
And then we missed each other, but then the next day we managed to speak, and I was like, no, I just felt that I needed to connect with you, and you're like, well, guess what's happened? And so we had a mini celebration. I'm like, well, if that's the case, we definitely need to bring this home and celebrate this here on this show. And so you say you really can't believe it because it's been a journey, right?
No, definitely. It's been really difficult. I've had a lot of issues, a lot of promises from firms. You apply to firms, they say, okay, work for us for 6 months, and then we'll offer you the training contract to qualify as a solicitor. And it never happened. Even this, like at one point I was like, okay, maybe this is not meant to happen. Maybe I'm not on the right path. And when I was just like thinking, okay, this won't work, the firm I was currently working at decided to, like, I was going to leave, and then they decided, we wanted you and we'll offer you training contract. So I qualify next year as a solicitor.
Wow.
Which I think until I get that qualification.
That's dope.
Yes. No, it's been a journey, but definitely really happy about it.
I bet you are. So, I mean, tell us how significant and how much of a role do you think that period of our GPS exploration was to helping you being able to navigate where you are today?
A huge role. I think I needed that connection with you, and it was just the right time, because I needed someone to hear me. I needed someone to be there for me and listen and tell me, okay, ask me what I wanted, or obviously just ask those questions are important in terms of who are you, what do you want. And it was just the right time in my life to set that up to become who I am today. Because then obviously since then, yes, I do ask those questions to myself, and I do have a vision board where I do put my things and put my vision and be able to see it visually, what I'm doing, where I'm going, what my next steps are. And I think that was just the foundation I needed, because prior to that, like I said, I had no one that asked me that question. I had no support. I had no one to essentially open my eyes up to that part of life. And it was just the right time at the right moment, honestly. Like, it was, and even sometimes I look back to it and I'm just like, if that had never happened, maybe I wouldn't have had a mentor or someone who would ask those questions, and God knows what I would be doing right now. But
yeah, and the thing is, I mean, the reason why I ask is because we're going to get on to the next part, is I wanted it to come out of your mouth so that people listening, particularly Nigerians listening, can hear from a young woman who at the time was 20, 21, who was desperate to be listened to, heard. And as a result of that, this is a different kind of love that parents should be giving their children, not owning them, but giving them the space to listen to them, to
be their own person.
Yes. And the reason why I asked you the question is because I want them to hear you say that just that little time we spent has actually helped you to reshape your whole life. I mean, you're saying 2015, we're in 2021, 6 years later, and you're still using those techniques and those visionings and goals to navigate and to set up your life. That is something that you're going to have forever.
Definitely. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And even now, like my little sister as well, like, because obviously, not having that support, I have a younger sister. I always ask her, like, in terms of even deciding her uni, what courses she wanted to do, I actually sat her down and spoke to her about it. We're not having that conversation. Our parents are just expecting us to just, go through the whole stage in life and not actually asking us what we want to do and what our passions are. So it's really important. It really, really is important.
Wow. Yeah. So you feel really strongly about this. And so because you shared with me one of your passions and one of your visions in terms of educating parents, what from Africa or from Nigeria in particular, what do you want to do? Excuse me.
Sorry about that.
All right.
No, I think for me, so I have a business, and I feel like my vision might come out of that. So I have a vision. I have a business with helping mums and baby pack hospital bags. And through that, I've also started a podcast where obviously I'm speaking to my friends and family members in terms of obviously how they are and what, issues they've had growing up and how, that can be shared with obviously mums and, new mums and parents and even younger people, how their experience of growing up has, affected them and to be who they are today. And especially with like parents as well, it's really important because obviously instead that is the first foundation we have to becoming who we are. So having those kind of conversations, I feel like my business trying to shape up into that would definitely be a way to get that across.
Wow. Because you really want to make people aware that this is something that is not very common in the Nigerian society or culture.
No, it's not.
And as a result, so many young people are suffering as a result. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was working with my business mentor, Errol Abramson, who's passed, but he wanted to do some work in Africa. Mm. And so we did some research only to find out, and I don't know if you know any of the stats, but there's at the time, there were like 30 million unemployed young people in Nigeria.
Not surprised.
Wow. And a number of them have degrees.
Most of them do, yes.
Most of them do.
Yeah. So I think in Nigeria also is also about the opportunity. That's obviously playing a big part. And apart from obviously, parents and how much they can do, opportunity there is really important in terms of the economy and, it's a whole situation over there. Things are so different. For example, even for me to get the placement, I was speaking to some of my friends, the friends I made over there, someone who gone to university and obviously lives there probably wouldn't have had the placement, wouldn't have had the opportunity to even get the placement.
Really?
Yes. I spoke to some of my friends and even because again, I was also not paid, but I was given paid for expenses and things like that. They said even if they were to get placement or some sort of internship, they won't get paid anything. So like, it just shows, yeah.
But I think in your case, they love the fact that you were overseas, you were in the UK, and you want
to come back. And exactly, yeah, that was definitely an important part.
Wow. Well, if you were to give a message to young Nigerians who are, 18, 19, 20, wanting to go through life, what would your message be to them? And then to the adults, the parents, what would your message be to them? So take it away.
Yeah. Okay. So I think for the young people, I would say write down what you want. Write down what you're good at. Write down your strengths, where you see yourself in the next, 4 years, 5 years. Right. So have something written down. Then you can see it, because obviously thinking about something in your mind is different to actually having it written down. So if you have something written down, then you can kind of have like some sort of vision in terms of what you want to achieve. And then have someone who would not hold you accountable, but push you in the right direction in those visions you have written down. So maybe if it's a business, or if it's, so you can be a business coach or a business mentor. If you want to do something educational, maybe someone in your university or in your school, have someone there who would hold you accountable, essentially, to make sure you are achieving what you want to achieve. So make sure you're thinking about yourself, not what your parents want. Write down what you want, and then get someone to essentially lead you and guide you to where you want to be.
Hey, you're trying to create problems in their house. Eh? Hey.
But you have to. And you have to. And for the parents, you have to let your kids be their own person. As much as obviously they're your kids and you want to raise them and you want to guide them, and you brought them into the world, you also have to let them be who they want to be, and not essentially have so much control in terms of like, oh, I brought you into this world and I can, this ownership of, I can tell you what you have to do and this, that. Just, you've given them all you can do. You've given them all the support you can give them. Now let them grow and be their own person. And you having control over them would not help them be who they want to be and grow into the individual they're going to be. Because at some point you are going to leave them and they're going to have to go fend for themselves and live in the real world, which you haven't prepared them for because you've had them in this box. Wow. Who they want to be. Wow. So yeah.
I can tell you, like, you're still very passionate about yeah, because you lived through it. And hence the reason why you can speak with such passion. So we definitely going to do some work. I can feel that vibe. It is just amazing. I'm just sitting back chilling. I'm like so proud right now to see you blossom, and all of the things that we talked about have actually come to fruition. And that for me is incredible, because you're happier, you're smiling, you've achieved
control. I know who I am, what I want. That's the important one. What I want, and what I want to do about it. What action am I taking to get to where I want and where I want to be?
And even in the area of relationships, I know we talked about that nonsense guy at the beginning, but now it is a case of no nonsense guy can come around you because you know your worth. And for me, that is so important for my young women to be able to know their worth.
Definitely important.
Wow. Dami, it's really great. I hope that we have another Dami in our group, and I hope, I tried to contact her, but I've not been able to reach her. I hope that she listens to this, because I'd love to put you both in touch. She would benefit immensely from hearing your lived experience. So don't go away, chill for a moment. I'm going to let you come off screen now, as I'm going to bring on our next guest, who is Glenys. And so then when I have the spotlight on Glenys, then I'll bring you back, both of you, and then we'll have some questions and answers. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Hang tight. Okay, so wow, wasn't that pretty amazing? I mean, don't you see that I just love the work that I do? So now let's invite Glenys. Glenys, are you in the house? I believe she is. So, Glenys, if you can just come up on screen. Okay.
I'm here.
All right.
Good
Okay.
evening.
So, Dami, if you can you turn your camera off for a moment, and then we'll bring you back in. Yeah. So I want Glenys to have the spotlight. Wow.
Wow. I have to say, before we start, seeing Demi again is great. Hearing, I remember when I first met Demi, that was in 2015 at the second event of yours that I went to. And I just remember this young little girl, and she's matured beautifully in so many ways.
This is what we do, right? This is what we like, to be able to see it. It's not like this is a life here that has been transformed. It is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what we're in the business of doing, transforming lives in a real, meaningful, sustainable way. And as you've heard Dami say, what I love about that story is it's beyond education. Most parents are just talking about and thinking about having their children be educated. But she learned skills that she's going to be using for the rest of her life. She's able to pass on to her children, to her sisters, her brothers, her siblings, and anyone that would listen. So this is what we're about. But enough about Dami. Now let's put the spotlight on Glenys.
Yes.
So it sounds like 2015 was a big year for me, because wasn't it 2015 that I met you?
That is so correct. 2015.
A big year. So what was going on for Glenys?
Oh, wow.
In 2000?
2015, I was in a place fed up, demotivated, spinning, stuck, fed up, and just didn't know what to do. Yeah, I was in a job, didn't really like it because it wasn't stretching me. I just going through the motions. Yeah, I wasn't in a great place at that time.
So I say to people that Glenys was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah. I was definitely, I got to the point where something's got to change.
It's really what you were saying.
Yeah. But I didn't know how. I knew something needed to change, but I really just didn't know.
You didn't know how, and you didn't know what was going to happen.
No,
so
not at all.
So remind me, how and when did we?
Well, I listened to a radio station, Galaxy Radio, and I think in the early part of the year, I heard this gentleman on the radio, and it caught something I remembered, and I remember GPS, and I remember writing it down on a bit of paper. And I thought, okay, months went on, didn't think anything of it. Then you was on the radio station again. I said, wait, I remember that voice. And it's GPS. Said, GPS, yes, I remember. And you were saying that you were going to have an event coming up. So I said, that's it. I'm going to go to this event.
Wow.
So I went to the event. I think it was in the summertime. It was at the hotel in Battersea. And I just listened. There were a number of people talking about their experience review, their journey review. There's some people that had some of their business they were promoting. And
that's so long ago, because obviously back in those days you could have events, right? And so, so I remember now, it was, we would run awards for those people.
Oh, was it an award? I'm not sure if it was awards.
Okay. All right.
I think it was. I don't think it was an award, but people were talking. I remember Nisha was there and some other ladies were there, and they were talking about their journey and their experiences.
Okay.
Generally, yeah. And by the end of the session, I knew that you were the person that was going to get me where I needed to go.
Wow.
And I say that, well, I knew that because over the years I've been looking at personal development, reading books, going to seminars, etc., and being involved with certain companies that promoted that and helped that. And I have an experience where people help you, but they got their own agenda, you know. I wasn't the focus. They had ulterior motives, so fair enough. But when, yeah. And when I heard you, I said, this is it. There is an aura. And the first thing I remember when I first heard you on the radio, what I liked about you is your calmness.
Yeah, very different. Very different from Glenys, isn't it?
That's why I said, oh, this one is calm and he's on the radio. People firing questions at you and you just take it in your stride. I said, wow. That's what impressed me. And then when I met you face to face and I heard you and I heard what people were saying, and I said, yeah, I just knew it. I just knew it because what I felt from you is your authenticity and your realness. And I said, this is it. He's going to get me wherever it is I need to go. And I just knew it from that point. At the end of that night, I said, yeah, this is it. Done deal.
So that was the night when it all happened. So
yeah,
we had a conversation. Little did I know that, okay, very soon you were going to embark on the 12-week program. And I think that's, for many people, they find it quite surprising that so much ground can be covered in just 90 days. Yeah. But it sounds like that, but of course, what many people don't realize is that I've been developing this for almost 30 years. So we, you know, when I say, yes, I can work with you, I already know based on what you've shared with me that we can cover ground quite quickly. Little did I know that it was going to be a lot longer than 90 days. We'll come on to that in a moment. How about it was like 9,000 days. But anyway, so we began our GPS journey.
Yes.
And so we know that you were coming from a place where you were sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yeah. And now you are at a place that, okay, I'm going to do this and this person's going to help me figure out where I want to get to.
Yeah.
So what was that journey like for you?
It was, in a sense, an awakening. I learned so much about myself, but also the changes that I couldn't even see, other people saw.
Are you serious?
Yeah, people would say, you know, I remember one of my cousins saying, you know, you've changed. And I thought, okay. And I think it's just about maybe being more confident and being more aware and finding myself having a bit of purpose. Because I was, you know, when I first met you, I was like, I'll just go through the motions and just going to work, going home, doing very little else. I mean, you know, I do tend to get involved in things anyway, but I wasn't really motivated.
Yeah, I know.
The work set it.
I know, because you used to go to bed at 9 o'clock.
Oh.
I remember the first time you told me that. I was like, what? Anyway, so I didn't mean to put your business out there, but you don't live like that no more. So it's okay. We can say that. That was the old Glenys, right?
Yeah.
I was like, 9, like, no, she can't be for real. And then I'd call you sometimes after night, no response. I'm like, oh my God, she's serious. So
yeah.
We
go on. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, it's just over those months, it's like I remember the financial pillar and doing, you know, looking at my finances in a different way.
Go into that, and I want you to go on, but I just want to explain for some people who may not be familiar. So part of the GPS journey, we have sessions every week, and during that, we focus on each of those 5 areas that I spoke to you about at the beginning of this evening. And so each of those pillars, we give focus and attention in terms of what is your vision and what are the goals that you're putting in place to realize that vision. So when Glenys is talking about the financial pillar, that's what you're referring to, right?
Yeah.
Back over to you.
Yeah. And, you know, I had in the past did like a budgeting sheet and look at my expenditure and income. But what you brought to me was a forecast over a 12-month period, which it's just like, wow. Rather than looking at every month and saying, oh, this would happen every month, or not looking at every month. It's about forecasting ahead for a period of time, i.e. 12 months. And you can see you could forecast what you planned or what you intend to happen with your finances, and then you can plot it, and then you can also put in your expenditure. And for me, that was quite good, or very good even, because I looked at it that far ahead. For me, throughout my life, it was day-to-day living and very little of looking ahead. I've just, when the wind blew, I went with it to a certain degree. And yeah, I never really had that plan, focus, work towards. That wasn't me.
Wow.
And during the GPS journey and beyond, I've learned that no, and that's not good. I've come out of that because it's about focus and looking at your visions and all the rest.
So as a result of just what you've just described, would you say you had a transformation in terms of your relationship with money?
Yes, transformation per se, not just with money, transformation with myself, focusing, addressing things, looking at things. And the 90 days was just the start for me personally. That was just a door opening.
Wow.
Hence,
it
continue.
got to the end of the 90 days and I was like, okay, Glenys, thank you very much. You're like, where you going? You ain't going nowhere. I'm like, what do you mean?
But during those 90 days, I was in employment. And previous to that, I also had a beauty business with my lovely friend Beverly. And we'd been doing that a little while. And during my 90 days, I spoke about possibility of taking that forward, having my own business in a professional manner. And you said, okay, well, let's look at what you're good at, etc., what I like. Okay. And I said, well, I do love the beauty work, but I couldn't see myself making money at it. That was it. So you said, what else are you good at? And I said, well, I'm an administrator. I like doing that. I like supporting and helping people. Okay. So we started to look at that. Also, during that period, my workplace said that they were having redundancies. And I said, oh, I think I'm going to take that because number one, I was fed up with the job. Number two was I had something else to look forward to. It was about, yes, this business idea, I can take it forward, I can go, I can move, I can grow. And so I took redundancy. I said yes. And this was in December. I said yes. And I think we finished the 90 days, I think just after that in January. And it was a case about, okay, now I'm going to do it. It was like, what do I do next, etc. And you carried me or supported me through that whole journey of planning, developing, and starting the business in the April of the following year. So, the first 3 months were key and the timing was on point because had it not been for GPS, I'd probably still be there. Wow. Possibly not actually, but I would have been there for a lot longer. Guaranteed.
And it wasn't easy. It was challenging, but you felt like you were living.
Yeah. It's just different. I just felt, because I was just, I don't know, surviving, I suppose. People use that term and I hate that word surviving. It's not about surviving.
But that's what many people are doing, surviving instead of thriving. Yes. And as a result of your experience, I mean, we helped you to generate your business name. I put you
in. Oh, wow. I'm telling you.
I know. I saw you blossom when you came back with that company name. And
I tell you. Yeah, that was, I sat down with Marlon, who you introduced me to, a graphic designer, and I think it was 2 hours, at least 2 hours. We sat down, he asked me all questions about what I want, what I perceive, what's the ethos, and he came up with a name, and I said, wow. And it's lovely, Admin Nanny, that's just a fantastic name, short, sweet, and everybody likes it. And I said, look at that. I would never, ever have come up with it at all.
And so now you were proud. We did your launch. I remember.
Yes.
And we put your business cards, and you did a talk about what you do, and in a way that, I mean, you began to be a much more outward person, and you've taken that passion for wanting to do good within the community to all sorts of things. I mean, shout out to Money Mob.
Oh,
It's
yes.
because of who you were becoming. People now started to attract, people started coming to you and like,
Yeah.
Glenys, and I believe that you were able to, the value added that you've now found in Glenys Russell, you were able to add that value to
That's right.
the Money Mob initiative and
Yep.
and help them, and now they're doing big things, and
Yeah.
obviously you're part of that.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. And it's just the confidence, because I have certain confidence, but I lost a lot of things. I just lost so much of myself. And yeah, what I used to be, strong and feisty, not too feisty, but anyway.
You're asking me.
No, don't answer. And I really had lost myself. And it's like, looking throughout those years from 2015, I'm still on a journey, because I know I'm finding myself every periodical term. I'm finding myself. I'm getting back to Glenys. I'm getting back to how I used to be.
Wow.
And it's fantastic, because I know there's still more of me still to find, but I know there's more of me still to develop.
Yeah.
I know that, so I know it.
And
More best ahead of me.
And you've adopted this attitude to life now where you're a lifelong learner. Like,
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. This, like I said, 2000, the GPS holistic program was just the first run of the ladder, the first step. And for me, everyone's different, but I know I need that continual input and that continual motivation. I personally need that.
Well, the beauty of it is, you have a tenacity that's rare, I must say. And why I'm so pleased to have you here today is because we have a great contrast with Dami, a young woman starting out in life, and saying how crucial, the GPS program was for her. But equally, we have more mature women who, as you said, lost their way, however that may have come about, not finding that passion, not having a clear sense of purpose, and ultimately being lost to some degree.
That's right.
And this is what's happening today. This is what the two of you are reflecting.
Yeah.
And, for many mature people, men and women, they get to a point where they feel like, I'm done. I can't do anything. The statistics say where men are concerned, the biggest killer of men aged 50, as you know, is suicide. Think about that. That's men getting to a point where they've lived a whole, half a century, and they get to a point of giving up. So the fact that the GPS program can aid you, as long as you've got life and you have a desire to want to be someone, it's never too late. And it's never impossible. And hence, that's the reason why we call our community the Rich Society, the ability to realize the impossible and create happiness in your life. And it sounds to me, well, not sounds, because I've experienced it, that you have created so much happiness in your life the last 6 years.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, I very rarely ask questions. To my detriment, believe me, over the years in all spheres, especially in relationships and general day to day. And what I've learned, what Tony has taught me, is to ask questions. And not to assume either. And I make a point now, I ask questions. And I'm not going to sit back and just take or just, consume.
So, it really sounds like there's been a great transformation. And what I love about the transformation, you can go to many organizations and coaches and they'll talk about the transformation, but they can't really measure it or quantify it. But you've got so many examples.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly definitely. What I love is eventually you you just were so insistent and not letting go. I think I had to create a GPS 2 and a GPS 3.
That's right.
Like, this woman, she ain't going nowhere. But then
That's right.
that's the point. And what I love is you actually now work with me, and as a member of the team, and where it's just great that we're able to exchange that energy, where you were paying me, but now I'm paying you, and you're doing more and more work and looking to really grow within the company based on the skills that you've learned, acquired, and the support that you've given. And that really, it speaks volumes, because that's really what I'm about. It demonstrates that's real empowerment, that you've got to a level where I'm like, okay, I value the contribution that you're making. And I want you to be a part of the team because you understand the ethos, because you've come from it. You are a typical example of the kind of person that I'm here for, meaning those people who have felt disenfranchised or disaffected or lost their way, to be in a position where by the grace of the Most High, be able to connect on that level and support the individual, because that's all it is. I truly believe that what is required is already inside of you. You just need the right kind of person who doesn't have an ulterior motive, who actually just sees something that you don't see in yourself. And like I said, by the grace of the Most High, has learned to cultivate and enable that to blossom. And when it does, well, here I am now benefiting from it, because you are a key part of the team, as is Natty. And I think I mentioned that because I want to demonstrate that this is the new way, ladies and gentlemen. It is not just about, providing a service and taking the money and cut loose, but it's about relationship. It's about investing. It's about having a vision, wanting to see people blossom. And as a result of that, look, the things that I'm able to achieve, the things that we are able to achieve, are far greater than if I was just working in solo capacity. And, one of the other things I think we must say before we bring Demi on and then we ask some general questions is that we've been able to actually put it to the test, in terms of you now have a spirit of excellence, whereby before you may have just been going into, and let's just keep it real, going into work to get your paycheck at the end of the month. Now you're not working for the money. You're working because this is who I am. And I've said that this is the work that I'm going to do. So when I'm doing the work, I'm bringing my best version, my full commitment. And that's been evidenced because, as well as doing your own business, you did some freelance work, and you went to a company and you were supposed to be there for how many months?
I think it was about 3 months, actually.
Initially. And then what happened after the end of the 3 months, or towards the end?
When I was asked to stay on.
And would you say that you were asked to stay on because they could note that your spirit of excellence was something that they didn't want to let go of?
Yes, but I'm going to go backwards to go forwards. Before that, I actually started with this company. I've been with them 3 years now. And this last placement.
3 months.
For 3 months. And it's 3 years.
Continually been asking you to extend and extend and extend. And 3 years has passed. 3
years have actually passed. January would have been 3 years. But before that, I worked with them previous to that. And then I left. And then one of the managers said, oh, there's some work that needs been doing, that they need to be done. Would I be interested? And I said, yeah, because I was temping at another place. And then for the next 4 months, they did whatever they had to do. The wheels go very slow in that organization. And then the job, we said, yep, we're ready for you now. Come and join us in January.
Right.
So I'd started with them, left, then they asked me to come back, and then I've been there 3 years.
But it's not just that you've been there for years, it's that it's been a contract for a
Oh
period
yeah.
of time.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Then when that time is coming to an end, they
Yes.
have said, "Can you please stay?" The reason why I
Yeah.
want to really expound on that, ladies and gentlemen, is because when I say to people that when you invest in yourself, the Grow Personal Success program can literally make you money, because the clarity that you had in your work and the attitude that you bring and the spirit of excellence, any boss or employer will notice it. And that's what they have done with you, haven't they?
Yeah, I would say so.
They've noticed that this is actually an asset. She's not just coming in and clocking out. She actually adds value, and we don't want to let her go. And here we are, 3 years down the line. And just recently they've extended it again, haven't they?
Because it was, December was going to be, and then end of April, or end of March even, that's just end of the year.
And so we're saying,
financial
well,
year.
okay. Well, and I'm saying, well, okay, now potentially enough is enough, because, the way that we are, God willing, going to blossom in the work that we're doing this year, we are going to need you to be around more permanently. And, so, but either way, it's great, because doesn't it feel good to feel wanted and needed?
It does. And I do enjoy what I do. I love it. It's just supporting and helping and seeing people grow, and as a result of my whatever I've done contributed to that. That's what I love. Yeah,
it's wonderful, and it's going to continue to blossom as people begin to recognize and see in real terms, because you know what our people are like in particular. You explain stuff to them and they don't get it until they see it, see the manifestation. Well, now, as I've been saying for the last 7 years, as you know, certainly for 6 of those years, that I've been talking about the rise of the feminine energy and how it's going to be the transformative energy that's going to bring healing to our communities individually and collectively, and then allow us to thrive. Many people were like, what's this guy talking about? But hey, you only have to come to one of our events when we get back into that space and see that 85% of the people in our community that are in our rich family are women, to let you know that there is something going on a spiritual level, that the sisters who are in tune with themselves are keying into, and they're doing the work on themselves first, which then allows them to confidently then assist others to make that change. And we're actually seeing that right before our eyes. You wanted to say?
Yeah, and I think any women out there, sometimes it's about having faith. And I'm a person, I'm a giver, and I don't. It's hard for me to ask for help, put it that way. Not so much, little less now than before. Well, a lot less now than before, because I never ever really asked for any form of help at all. That was me. And sometimes it's about being open, and that's another thing I've grown to do as well, be open, because I was a closed book. I'm telling you, I'm a different person in so many ways. And a lot of, I think, I'm in my 50s now, and a lot of us have, like I said, have lost our way, or just got to a point of, what's left for me what's ahead of me. And when I hear certain women speak, I feel it for them, because I think that there's nothing more left for them. Number one, they're going to be on their own. They're in their 50s. You want to be in your own for the rest of your life? No way. It's about looking forward and or trying to find someone or something that's going to help you come out of wherever you are, and finding the right person. And you may need to be proactively looking for that person.
Absolutely.
That's something, and not expect anything to land in your lap. It's not going to happen like that.
And I love that message that you've shared with our audience, because when you have done the work on yourself it changes your vibrational frequency. And this is so key because we are all vibrating on a frequency. And so if you are doom, gloom, not much left for me for life, and you're vibrating on that frequency level, guess what? That's the only kind of brother you're going to attract. Whereas when you up your game and you vibrate on that frequency of a spirit of expectancy based on having done the work on yourself, and now you're alive, you're not just surviving, but you are thriving, and you are looking, and your mind is open. Well, again, that's the kind of vibrational frequency that you're going to meet a brother at. And so it's so key that you said that, because of those two, one is waiting to die,
Yeah.
and the other is living every moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's as
Truly.
stark as that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's about realizing your way is not the only way.
What do you mean by that?
I'm just saying, sometimes when we get to a certain age, we've been there, we've done that, we think we know it all, our way's the right way and our way's the only way, not realizing that's not the case. There are other ways, you know.
It's amazing. For me, this is amazing because I've been waiting for so long for my sisters to get to this point where we can be real, just say it like it is. We can heal, and then we can experience abundance, because that's the only way community is going to flourish.
Yeah, and that healing thing. Oh, whoa. I think a lot, but most of us need it.
Well, I'm glad you said it.
And it's interesting because for myself, I didn't know that I needed healing.
And that's the case. You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. And I know I need a lot. But I'm on the right path and I've started.
Yeah, but it's got to a point, and I certainly can see that it has been in the last 7 or 8 years, out of the 30 or so years that I've been in this space. It's only recently that I see that people are at their wits' end, that they're now ready to break from protocol. So that whole attitude of you don't tell people your business, people are throwing it out the window. They're like, listen, I need help. I need support. And so it's, in one way, it's kind of unfortunate that people had to leave it till it got so bad. But at the same time, better late than never. And it's the right time, because this is the rise of the feminine energy, and it's all about healing. And so I guess it's that essence from Mother Nature, that healing spirit, that is bringing people, women in particular, to that place where they're like, you know what, the time has come. I need to do something about this. And so in that spirit of love, we are here to support and enable people to find themselves, and then each one teach one, as we're seeing. So I want to thank you for stepping up all those years ago and stepping out. And it's been a journey. Like, wow.
It certainly has.
We won't go into the details of that, but it's been a journey. One of the things I'm a bit concerned about, like you work with people and you bring them up to a certain level, and then they become the boss. I'm like, what's going on? But it's all good. It's all love. So on that note, I know we've gone over slightly, but this is a special evening, as you could tell, ladies and gentlemen. And so we're just going to allow it to flow. I'm going to bring Dami back on camera, and then we're going to give you, as an audience, the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. So Dami, are you still there? Yes, she is. Hey, looking beautiful as you always do. Both of you looking amazing.
Thank you.
So let's hear from our audience. I probably think that our audience may be spellbound, like they just might not be able to speak, but let's see. So someone says, Glenys, you are beautiful and a great support to us on the GPS program. Great to hear your journey. Yeah, because a lot of people,
thank you.
You're always supporting everyone, but very few people actually know your full journey. Dami knows because you guys met the same year.
Yeah.
But it's really good to have both of you to share your journey, and yeah, awesome. So
Yeah.
we're opening
Thank
up.
you.
Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask Dami or Glenys? This is your moment. Bring the questions. Let's have some interactions. Dami, let's start with you listening to Glenys' story, because I don't even think you've heard Glenys' story before.
Not fully, but like I've heard bits of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Glenys, don't she look all matured up?
Yeah, I'm telling you, that Demi, man.
You don't understand, like, like, yeah, she's like a little girl back then.
Yeah. And the way she was talking to this, I thought, whoa, listen to Demi. I had to harden up when I got to Nigeria.
Yeah, I couldn't even drive in Nigeria, and yeah, no. Okay. So
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think I think you've left people speechless.
Yeah.
Like, really? So Glenys,
It's all good.
well,
Yeah.
then let's continue for a few minutes, and
Yeah.
we'll see if any questions come in. But what would so I asked Dami if she would give her message to the young people and to parents.
Mhm.
What would your message be to sisters, around your sort of age bracket and coming from your path in life? What would you say to them about, the GPS program? And
Number one, before the GPS program, to say that there is hope. Number one, there is hope, without a doubt. The GPS program now, wow, that's going to just take you on a journey like you've never known. And because when we're of a mature age, we feel that, we know certain things, we've done it, been there. Who can tell us? We know. But for me, it just opened me up and got me to start living again,
wow.
to develop in a sense of to value myself as well, because I went through a stage where I really didn't.
And that's a really important word. And Dami, I see you nodding your head. And this has really been the thing that I've been trying for decades, to get my sisters to recognize that the way society has been set up, you don't honor yourselves.
Yeah.
That seems to be largely the position for many women somehow.
Yeah.
And as
Truly.
long as that is the case, by spiritual law, if you don't value yourself, why should anyone else?
Yep.
And it's until we change that. And I would say, if there was any one thing, that fundamental thing, when we on the GPS program, when you hear that, understand it, and then embrace it into your soul, that's when, like, Dami's smiling because she's like, yeah, that's the game changer. Like, Dami?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. Totally agree to that.
Yeah. And because through that, for me, I just soared. Because and use the word honor, and that's the word I was looking for, honor. And then sometimes I'm doing things I think, honor, am I honoring myself? Honoring myself.
In your daily life, you're doing stuff, and
it kind of, am I honoring myself? And yeah, definitely. So many things. It's just the 5 pillars, holistic, your whole life. That's what it's about. It's not just one area. It rubs off, it covers all of it. Maybe at different times, but it covers all of it. Yeah. So I've excelled in all the areas.
Wow.
Not just one area.
Now that's real talk right there. That's
without a doubt. Yeah. And I think people who have seen me, who knew me before and see me now, they will probably see it.
I mean, your health is better, your diet is better,
and what I've learned from you is what I do now, I listen to myself. I listen to my gut feeling, where before I never did that.
You didn't trust.
And yeah, well, and spirituality for some, I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know what I associated spirituality with religion. And because I'm not religious, I just parked it over there. I just parked it there, didn't take it on board. And then since meeting Tony and working with Tony, I realized spirituality is not religious, not religion. It's something totally different. And I've always known that someone has guided me or been looking out for me. That much I was aware before I met you, Tony, because I know that. And I knew that I wasn't put on this earth to take up space. I knew that. I didn't know why, but I knew I wasn't here just for the sake of being here. That's what I knew. And I think that's what kept me going all through the years, for whatever good, bad and indifference. And then since the GPS journey, it's become I'm more aware of that and spirituality and guidance. And yeah, somebody's definitely looking out for me without that and supporting me. And yeah, clearly.
Yeah, it is
and I listen to myself now, thinking, what does my gut tell me to do? And I go with that now. Whereas before, that wasn't a consideration.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw you nodding your head. Do you connect with that?
No, yeah, definitely. Like, you trust yourself more because you know that, whatever you're doing it for you, essentially, and you're thinking about what you really want. So whatever comes to you, like, same with you, I really listen to myself a lot now, like, because I trust what I'm feeling and, like, my space, and, like, because I'm also aware of, like, what around me and what I want, and it's just more like you just feel better about yourself, and you say, if you feel something, just go for it, because I know, you listen to yourself, like you said. So I definitely can relate to that.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's the confidence, because it's just when I look back, pre-2015, wow. But you know what, I believe everything happens for a reason. Every single thing happens for a reason. So what my life up till then happened because it needed to happen. And post 2015, everything's happened because it needed to happen.
Because growth, you see, the reality is life doesn't know any confusion. So you're either growing or you're dying.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
Yeah. And pre-2015, I felt like I was. I mean, I didn't feel not dying, but in essence,
no growth.
Yeah, there was no growth, and I was
still just like steadily moving, like,
but not even
moving.
I was deteriorating because in my work, I was a manager, and then I made redundant, and then I went down to work standard in admin, and the job I was doing wasn't stretching me, so I was just going downhill. I wasn't, I wasn't being stretched or pulled. I was just there.
Yeah.
And then my whole life was like that. I was just there.
And
stuck. You feel stuck.
Yeah, gosh, yes.
And then when you decided that you offered your services to come and work with me, well, then I'm like, Glenys, who have you been working with? They just let you come in and collect paycheck. No. That's not happening here. If you want to do admin, I want to see admin. We had to fix up real quick.
And you know what? And because I lost myself, because previously I was, I would say on my game, but I know maybe not as game as I am now, but I was at a different place and I went down and I didn't really how low I'd gone. So I'm working with Tony, who expects excellence.
Yes, he does.
Yes, Dammy, say it out loud.
What do you mean? Yes,
I don't work with you, but I can see the events, everything you do is always like, like even the way you speak and the way it's just like, it's like a way of, a way you do things. It's like very, I don't know how to explain it, but it's, I don't know how to explain.
Careful, because I would talk to you after. She's thinking, oh my God, I've dug a hole now. How do I get out? You know?
No, but it's a good thing.
No, and the thing about it is, because if you weren't where you are, I wouldn't be where I am.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean? Because the spirit of excellence, you've taught me that. And I've been working since I've been 18 years of age, yeah, in different organizations, different sectors. And no one's, it's just the way it has been for me. My experience has been, no one's really, they're pushed, but not to degree, not to the excellence degree.
You're absolutely right, because the reason why that is there is because it's about the intention. Excuse me. I've been blessed to be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want, as an adult. So if I'm going to be at an event, there's a reason why I'm staging that event. And that reason is because I want to impact lives. So if that's what I want, I'm not doing it for you to pay me ticket money. Like, I don't need your money like that. You know, this is why we're doing it. And so I want us to recognize that each and every one of us, you have a reason for being, you have a purpose. And even if you don't value you, I value you. So sometimes that's what needs to happen. Sometimes other people have to believe in you before you can believe in yourself. And as you know, everything that I do, Glenys, comes from a spiritual perspective. And so even before we do an event, and you've seen this many a time, we can charge the room with the energy and the vibration that even the people that are coming into the room, they don't know that we've had a few moments before we've set up our event where we've charged the room with the positive vibration and energy and prayer that everyone that comes into this space is going to have a good time. And then you've seen it where people come in and they just said, it feels so good. They don't know what we've done. We haven't shared anything, but they can feel that energy because everything is vibration. Yeah. And so if we are vibrating from that place of excellence and commitment to what we're doing, then even life is looking at us and like, okay, these guys are serious. Let's help a hand. Let's make sure that everything goes smooth. And when we see people, when people see us respecting time, respecting them, respecting the order of things and organizing of things, then the truth of the matter is everybody loves that because it makes you feel special. Right, Dami?
Yes.
There you go. And we've been on a few. We've had a few parties and celebrations.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have.
Hopefully, in the not too distant future, we can get right back on that because we do like to party, don't we?
Yeah, and it's always good to celebrate yourself as well. Like whatever you do, whatever milestones you've achieved, celebration is very key because then whenever you appreciate your next journey, your next step, when you have that celebration. Yeah. So you always celebrate us. So it's always great.
So we'll be doing it again real soon. Okay. All right. Well, as I said, for the first time, I think, Glenys, I think this is probably the first time that people have been gobsmacked. Not one question's come through. Everyone's just here, just listening.
Millie's made a lovely comment. Thank you, Millie. She's written in the comments there.
So how comes I can't see that? Can you read it out?
It says, it said, Glenys, it is good to hear your story. You have been so supportive. So much resonates and has meaning for me. Growing and blossoming continues. Thank you. That's from Millie. Thank you, Millie.
And I think really that just sums it up. I don't think there are questions as such. I think it's more just an appreciation from both of you of sharing your stories so openly. And I know that, as I said, 90% of our audience are female. I think you both sharing your stories have just left people in a reflective state where they're just checking themselves. So.
And also thank you to Carlene. She put a message in, I think it's Facebook.
Okay, right. I couldn't see that.
Thank you. Yeah. So thank you as well.
So Beverly says, Glenys, my sister who led me to Tony. Yeah. And then someone has said, well done, Dami. I'm not sure who that was. So
Lady.
Laide, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yes. So Laide is obviously, you can tell by the name, is also from Nigeria. So she could definitely feel and resonate with your story.
Thank you.
She says, yes, well done, Dami,
Yeah.
for being so brave. Yeah.
And just to add, Beverly's put a message in. Beverly, I know for many, many years. And like she's saying, I introduced Beverly to Tony because Beverly turned up at my graduation in 2016.
Okay.
And then now Beverly's part
And
of the team.
not only has Glenn, not only has Beverly become part of the team, but she's now part of that small elite group of practitioners who is training to be more. And it's just awesome. She actually now wants to, and is coaching, mentoring, supporting individuals, but even now as a GPS practitioner, because we can see that the work is so vast. As Dami's saying, Nigeria, we have a population of 200 million people that, even if there's half of those people that need re-education in the way that Dami's talking about, that's 100 million people. That's like 1.5 times the size of the UK. And then we've got the UK, and then we've got, the Caribbean. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done globally. And so I'm just blessed to have met you all. And I'm blessed that at the time when I was still trying to communicate, you heard the message, you heard my word, and now you're living testimony. So that it's going to make it easier for us to share and show people what is possible.
Okay, Tony, there's a message in YouTube from Money Mob.
Okay.
Can you see it, or do you want me to read it out?
If you can read it out, I need to because I can't see none of this.
So it's a question from Money Mob. I think it's Paul Mohammed. Question to Glenys. What is the key elements of the GPS program that helps you to reset yourself in times of real challenges? Wow. What are the key elements? The key elements, you know what it is? For me, it's having that holistic approach, looking at all the different areas of your life because they're all linked. Elements, you know what it is? For me.
Sorry.
Some feedback then.
Yeah, that was me. Sorry, my apologies.
All right. Yeah. So it's not just about looking at one area because it's all affected, i.e. So if you might be good at money, managing your money, okay, but you have sour relationships. What use is that? You need to focus on building up your relationships, build up working on yourself, build up looking at your spirituality, build up on your health. You could, i.e. you could be very wealthy, but if your health is bad, you will not live to enjoy the wealth that you have, the financial wealth that you have. So it's really key about looking at the different areas, being open, being real. It's about, and looking at yourself acutely. Wow. And being prepared to change.
Yeah. And I think you said it so well. It's that acuteness to attention to detail. I mean, we've developed things since then, Dami, but now it's in essence, it's the same. You see, most people look at themselves as in just one dimensional.
Yeah.
And at most, you think of yourself mind, body, and soul. But even though we say that, we don't actually pay attention to these different aspects of ourselves. Your mental self. How do you think? Do you even know how you think? Have you ever asked yourself, how do you think? Well, because if you're a negative thinker, you need to know, because then you can change that. But if you've never asked yourself that question, you'd just be going around living your life saying, I'm all right, and you ain't all right. Yeah. And no one ain't telling you.
Yeah.
And that's really what the GPS program does. But more importantly and fundamentally, and I'm going to say it like it is, I've said for decades, particularly to our community, I do not believe that you can truly be successful. By that, I mean, whatever your vision of success is, I don't believe you can establish that and thrive if you do not embrace and look at your life from a spiritual perspective. That's just my belief. Because when you do that, you embrace your essence. You go deep into your soul, and you trust your emotions. You think about what you ask yourself those questions that most people don't, in terms of what is my purpose. You hear many people asking that now. But Dami, you've been blessed because you've been asking yourself that question from 20. Like, do you know how big that is?
And I write things down now, and like now I have a vision board that actually like put things down that I know, okay, I need to answer. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, I'm not feeling great, I'll just check like, what's making me happy? What am I happy about? What's my purpose? What do I need to achieve today? So then I make a list of things, and like those questions are like essentially what guides me now. Like every day having to write things down keeps me focused and just takes me to the next stage in my life. So I'm really happy about, because obviously like I said before, those questions I didn't think about them, didn't ask them, but now having those conversations with yourself, you really get to be aware of your purpose and what you're going, and what you think and what you're thinking as well.
As Demi speaking, Glenys, I'm thinking she really ought to come and check out our Rich Society, our community now, because it's different. And our book study club, I mean,
oh wow,
cool.
That in itself is another lesson, another truly learning. Oh, I love it. And that's what I like.
And I was going to say, because of people like you, Dami, and various other people that I've worked with, I've come to realize that I need to say it like it is, that the people that gravitate to our message are people who have a deep sense of spirit. And I'm not talking religion here, but they are able to somehow connect with a deeper part of themselves that many aren't able to or have not been able to. And you're asking yourself the questions, and really it comes down to ultimately having the ability to activate your faith, meaning, both of you stepping into the GPS, to an extent, you had very little knowledge of what the journey was going to entail.
None at all.
Yeah. I mean, at least today, we give you guys a bit more information. Back then, it was just like, do you want to do it on? No. We had the conversation. You want to do it, or do you don't? But you were committed and you activated your faith. And really, that's what GPS is about. The truth of the matter is, it's about activating the faith. I don't do any magic. It's your faith that opens the door to enable someone like me to come in and then support you and show you how beautiful and how wonderfully made you have been and were made, as just forgotten or just decided not to take a look. And so seeing the transformation, for me, it's just amazing. And as we're growing, we're now 7-8 years deep in just the GPS program, with so many testimonials. And this is why we wanted to do the showcase, because Dami, you would love it in the group. Is really all I can say, because iron sharpens iron. And it just is so encouraging to see that people like yourselves who are you're spiritually inclined, basically, in the same way how we've got to look after our health, we've got to look after our soul. And the only way we can do that is to ensure that we're in spaces and within community groups where that conscious awareness is there.
Yeah. There's another message on Facebook. Let me just get to that. From Carlene. Both you ladies have smashed it. Thank you. Thanks for being so open and genuine. And another message there from Barry D to me. Thanks for my transparency, openness, and vulnerability. And I'm going to say, because it is where I am now, I wouldn't have been open pre-2015.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can attest to that. I mean, I remember trying to get Glenys to talk was hard work. Now I can't stop her.
There you go.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, it's all good. No, it is. It's fantastic.
Cool. Well, I think Beverly just said that the book club is mind-blowing. This month's book is on a new level. So yeah, you might want to join us, Dami. It's the book's The Celestine Prophecy. So anyone, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, we choose books that are going to help you understand this new era that we're living in. This new era is a new era that's about spirituality and how you can actively, practically employ that in your life, so that where so many people are fearful, worried, uncertain, you will be moving in confidence and in conviction with full clarity, because yours is based on not just hearsay, but these books will give you guidance and show you. So if you want to join, send us a message and we'll hook you up. We also are building up a library of books. So we've just finished studying the Think and Grow Rich, which many people have read, but very few people understand the spiritual gems that are embedded in that. So we've got a whole library of recordings on that. And the next book up after Celestine Prophecy is my spiritual mentors book, which you can't even get in this country, which is called The Way Forward. So just a little shout out. If you want to really emerge out of this lockdown and take your life to a whole new level, because definitely what we're seeing is two paths. Those who understand what time we're in are going to thrive and grow and flourish. And those who haven't figured it out are going to struggle and find it difficult. And so you get the choice to decide where you want to be. We've given out the invitation, and I hope that you will join us. On that note, I'm mindful of the time. I want to say a big thank you to my ladies, Glenys and Dami. Wow, the last time I've seen the two of you guys together, we were partying. So I'm just thinking, why? Just thinking I want to go and party. But definitely celebrations on the card. I want to thank the Most High for allowing our paths to come together, and for us now, all these years later, to be able to showcase both of you and hopefully inspire those people who are watching and listening. So
thank you.
Any final closing word that you'd like to say, Glenys?
Wow, just, be open, be true to yourself, and hope. Live your life.
And Dami, from you?
No, yeah, definitely add to that. Live your life and just enjoy who you are as well. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Like, live in the moment, enjoy yourself, and just be true to yourself. That's like really, for me, yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much, ladies. It's been great. And thank you, the viewers, listeners, both on Facebook and on YouTube. Thank you. I hope you have found this useful. We're going to be doing it again next week. We have 2 guests. And so till then, it's from me, Tony Dada, your soul purpose coach, saying enough love.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.